Season's greetings from North Carolina.
I'm Steven, she's Andy. Welcome back to our channel.
Can you believe it's December already? I know everybody always says that, but seriously, this year has flown.
Yeah.
And we got to do so many amazing things. We are posting our vlogs this month on Tuesdays, Travel Tuesdays, and we're gonna look back at 2021 and all the amazing highlights. Yeah. Today, we're looking back at the national parks we got to visit in 2021.
Would you believe we'd never been to a national park before the fall of 2020? The first one was Joshua Tree in California, and it was also Andy's first time ever camping.
So this was our setup last night. We opted for car sleeping. That was a blast. So we decided to get to more in 2021. We got to 4, which I think is pretty good. We had planned to get to a lot more. Unfortunately, plans got thwarted, as they tend to do. But in either case, we got to see some amazing parts of the country through the national parks, and we're gonna go through some of those right now. Let's reminisce.
Number 1, the Grand Canyon.
Oh my gosh, how amazing was that?
So grand, it's such a cliche, but really, just holy wow.
We actually knew what to expect with this one, or we thought so, but just seeing it in person, it's nothing like in photos.
It's really hard to put your finger on unless you're standing there. It's absolutely massive and vast and just gorgeous.
And the colors of the rocks and all the different layers and patterns, it's just incredible to see. Yeah. To imagine that that was carved out by a river, which by the way you could barely see because it was so deep. I mean, and that's a massive river. It looked like barely a little stream from up at the top.
And how cold was it that day?
Right? I was so surprised. I think it was about 29 degrees when we were there.
Yeah, it was freezing.
In my mind, Arizona is a hot state. I had no idea. Thank goodness we had winter coats with us.
We were in shock.
And the wind.
That was the thing. The wind went right through you. But yeah. I mean, we enjoyed it no matter what because it was just part of the whole experience.
It's also freezing and
really
very windy. Nothing could take away from the incredible views, though. Also, one of the cool things about the Grand Canyon is that it's so close to Route 66. So, when you go to visit, you can make stops along these classic old towns, see the classic cars, maybe go to a burger joint. We tried to go to one and unfortunately it was closed. Yeah. But man, you get some great Americana when you make a Grand Canyon trip. Number 2, Mammoth Cave in Kentucky.
Wow. I mean, how unexpected was that?
So cool. It is the largest cave system in the world. I really hope we see bats. And has so much history. We got to hear the stories from some of the rangers about how the caves had been used, what had been mined there, and really, wow, it really just kind of touched on modern times, didn't it?
Big time.
The saddest thing about it was that they didn't understand it was a bacteria that could be transmitted from person to person. They continued tours right through here. And these people who were living down here 24/7 were starved for information, they were starved for social contact. If they were able to, they would come out and talk to those people, maybe shake their hands, and no doubt the disease was probably passed on.
Wow. So. It's kind of crazy though, talking about the tourists coming down here and people passing along the disease, like as we're all wearing masks and also trying to avoid people.
Yeah, it is pretty fine.
Yeah, it really is.
The parallel was unbelievable.
And I also have to say, going to Kentucky, you know, growing up in the Northeast and then coming from the West, we definitely have some preconceived notions about certain states and certain areas of the country. I mean, driving in the South, for instance, when we went to Alabama and Mississippi, I have to admit to being a little more than apprehensive about having California plates on our car.
Yeah.
And that's the amazing thing about travel. That is why travel matters. Because you go and you experience and you do, and you find that all of your notions get completely shattered.
Yeah.
We found that when we went down to the South, and it was just absolutely incredible. Such a good experience, nothing to be apprehensive about at all. But with Kentucky in particular,
yes,
I had no idea what to expect. I mean, I knew some things about the state, but wow, it is gorgeous.
Yeah, we just kept repeating how much we couldn't believe how stunning things were that we were seeing along our drives.
Absolutely, the wildlife, the landscape, it was so peaceful and just beautiful. All the horses, I mean, I know it's a horse breeding state, but wow, when you see all of those ranches and they're just sprawling, the beautiful horses, it's just, honestly, I was blown away by the beauty of Kentucky. And I kept saying how peaceful it was the whole time we were there. I think that's the word I used the most.
Really. And we ended up going through there more than once in different road trips, so we kind of had the same experience at least 2 different times.
Yeah.
And we said it again the second time.
And we had one of our favorite food experiences in Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
But these are amazing, which we're going to share with you in a couple of weeks when we do our 2021 food roundup. So make sure you tune in for that.
Little teaser, not a spoiler.
Exactly.
Number 3, the Great Smoky Mountains.
Oh, how pretty. We went with a family trip, you may recall, for Mother's Day back in May. And we had an Airbnb there with the most incredible view of the mountains. I mean, you could see the clouds just kind of rolling in along the different contours of the mountains. And, oh, they are not kidding calling out the Smoky Mountains.
Absolutely.
And great hiking.
Awesome hiking.
Yeah, get to see some waterfalls, some beautiful trees that almost fell on us. It sounded like they were cracking the whole time.
we were hearing quite a few very large branches falling off trees. I'm shooting this because this might be my last video ever. We're hearing a lot of creaking and cracking up in the trees here in the forest. And we might get crushed.
Oh, and what about the butterflies? They were so pretty there.
Oh, that was amazing.
Getting right up close. They were all clustered right there along the water, and they didn't even care that we were coming right up to them and photographing them.
Yeah.
They're so pretty. And of course, family time. You can't beat that. When you get to see a national park and just the beauty of this country and spend time with people you love at the same time, that's just definitely a highlight of this year.
It was really amazing.
Yeah. Number 4, Glacier Bay National Park in Alaska.
Wow. Glacier Bay, what can we say?
Oh, look at you rhyming. That Alaska trip was an absolute bucket list item for us. And going through Glacier Bay was definitely one of our prerequisites when we were choosing which cruise to take, because not all of them go through there. So we knew, and we told our travel agent when we booked it, it's gotta be one that goes to Glacier Bay. And gosh, what an incredible day. We had some weather.
Oh, yeah.
It was cold, it was misty, it was foggy, and honestly, it just added, I think, to just that ambiance. And I mean, it just made everything just so quiet and eerie and beautiful, right?
Yeah, and we woke up extra early to find our place on deck.
Yes.
So it was freezing and cloudy and misty and rainy, and we loved it.
And someone forgot to wear socks. And I'm staying up here, I'm toughing it out, but I got some cold ankles right now. I didn't care. I wasn't gonna miss anything, so there was no way I was going back to our room to get some, because I wanted to see everything, and it was totally worth it. I would freeze my ankles over and over again for stuff like that, because those glaciers are just so impressive, and the fact that they're retreating is just really sad, because to think that future generations may not be able to see those, or at least not see them coming all the way out to the water like that, it just really makes you think.
Yeah, and it was mixed emotions because, you know, they had talked about the calving, and we actually heard one really loud
crack
or something of calving.
We didn't get to see it though.
Yeah, so on one hand you get kind of excited, you want to see it, but then on the other hand you realize what it actually is, and you kind of don't want to see it. So
we even saw some otters floating along on iceberg. It was
like
so cute. So yes, we can't recommend that one enough. That was just a dream to get to go there. And what a way to wrap up our national parks tour of the year, huh?
Oh, big time. They just kept getting better and better, didn't they?
Oh my gosh, did they ever. Join us next week. We're going to be revisiting all of the music sites we got to visit in 2021. Those were awesome. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
See ya.